All right, guys. So we are live. It is, what is it, Sunday, September 15th, 2019. I am your host with the most, the SMT, Sneed Mobile Tech. You got the name right there. And then you got Pete. He's over there.
With a name right here.
He'll be joining me for the podcast. He actually he kind of motivated me to do this podcast, and we had a couple things we wanted to discuss. He'll kind of sort of be leading the way tonight. We'll kind of let him kind of guide the show. And we've got some interesting topics for you all. As you guys are coming into tonight's live stream on the podcast, do say your hellos, pop a comment in the comment section in the live chat. And by all means, do like this video, help the podcast get out there, hit the algorithms running, get some traction, and we can get people piling in here. So let's start doing some roll call. Everybody, welcome Pete to the podcast.
Ahoy.
He's no stranger to the podcast, but it's always good to welcome,
Do we still have Tom in the chat?
Is he still there?
I don't know.
Go ahead and do roll, Pete. Start from the top.
We got Tom. We got Rathy with the wrench. We got Freaky Giraffes.
Don't get weird on me, bro.
Randy, Ricky, Florida Keys, Alan A, Technoid, Ronald,
Michael's in the house, Technoid,
Oscar Federico Jr.,
all right, Oscar,
Jesse Perez, Jarrett Topping, and Joe Montero at the moment. But we got 32 watching, but not 32 speaking.
That's all right. Some people are kind of like innocent bystanders. Others get caught up in the gunfire.
Yep, Martin just chimed in with a hi.
Just JOK is here. Good to have you on. Randy's here.
Hi, Jeremy Mahan.
Jarrett's here. Joe Montero's here. Martin is here.
John
All right.
M.
As you guys are coming in, do like the video and make sure that you do say hello to your hosts, the SMT, Peter B. No, not how about them Cowboys. We don't care.
So recently, the Boulder Buffaloes in college football beat at Oklahoma State. And I'm like, glad I wasn't on campus.
They would have been stampeding.
No, you would have been in a traffic jam.
What's up, Brad B? Good to have you on. We already got some questions starting to pile in, Pete. What do you want to do about the flow for tonight? Do you want to dig into the live chat periodically? Do you want to have it guide what we talk about?
I'm going to dig into the live chat periodically.
Okay, so let's do that. Me and you will kind of pop in there and pluck some comments out of there. And of course, you know that the super chats will get priority. So you know how that.
First question I notice is Randy asking, do all carriers slow down their speeds in the evenings on weekdays? No, that is called congestion. People are driving home and using Waves.
Yeah, it's a real life issue that networks have to deal with. People, less work and more play. So connected to LTE and networks and whatnot.
We got Robert Montoya, who used to be in Boulder.
We got Ciova here. I want to give a big shout out to Ciova. He's got a good channel, good content. Check him out. He's right there in the live chat. He said is T-Mobile upgrading their 5G plans.
They have this amazing 5G plan. If you have a phone and you're in the area,
right,
you can beta test it.
Yeah, so they're not charging for it. If you have the device compatibility and you're in a market that has it, you can connect to it free of charge. It's included in your service. No charge. And that's, you know what, Pete, you bring up a good point. You're calling it a beta test. I think that's pretty accurate.
Well, they're not charging and they're still doing LTE uploads, so
I think you're right about that. That's pretty accurate. A lot of people, they look at what Verizon is doing with their upselling charges, and they're looking at what Sprint is doing and charging for theirs. AT&T only making it available in millimeter wave and to, I guess we'll call it enterprise, and there's a charge. So the only company not charging for it in the early onset is T-Mobile, and I think they're right to not do that. It's actually fair.
And quite frankly, they're they're living up to what Neville said. It's not good enough to pay for.
Thanks, Charcoal, and appreciate the super chat, buddy. If you got anything you want to, save or say or let us know or ask, we're welcome. Siova, you always got priority, brother.
So,
thank you for the super chat, man. I appreciate it.
So talking about the T-Mobile 5G, let's do a segue to how about the eBay phones?
The eBay situation?
Yeah, let them know what's up with the phone.
All right, so I don't know, Pete. Should I really though? I think here's what I'll do. So originally I was supposed to do some 5G testing on the T-Mobile network because T-Mobile does have some 5G here in Cleveland. Those plans have been completely foiled, and I'm very disappointed in the what's happened. But I won't be able to be doing the testing because device compatibility is going to be an issue. I think that's I don't know if I really want to get into the details, Pete, but it's really disappointing, man.
Well, it's an opportunity for a PSA.
Yeah, it's really a bummer. I've got to figure out what I'm gonna do. I still want to test. I just I got to figure out a different avenue. I don't know if that means finding a Galaxy or whatever, or I just got to figure something out because I still do want to test it.
Siova says, didn't know eBay had a phone. They don't. You buy phones from eBay and people line the descriptions. It's called the eBay phone. It's great. They get chargebacks from PayPal for $15 in the end. Jessica Filler jumped in.
What's up, Jeremy? Good to have you on. I think he's got moderating duties tonight. He's got a wrench.
Nice. Big Chungus is in too.
What's up, Jess? Good to have you on. Saw you in the replay crew on the Friday podcast. Better off waiting, buying the new 5G phone that covers band 71 and mid-band later.
Yeah.
But, I mean, why buy it now then? And, yeah, so just wait until 2020.
And Sneezer didn't actually buy that phone.
Right. It was lent to me. Just didn't work out,
You're going to send him back a blacklist phone, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm not happy to report it, but what are you going to do, man?
These things happen.
Yeah, it sucks, man. I feel bad. Technoid. If T-Mobile and Sprint, for whatever reason, don't merge, or whatever the reason, would their backup be strong enough to bounce back? Yeah, depending on. All right, so here's the situation. Pete, you saw the video?
Yep, I also read it. The article, 2 articles on this over the past few weeks. What I'm wondering is when the C-band stuff goes up for auction, does Sprint have to let go of some of it?
I don't think so.
Probably not, but they're not going to be developing it like several other providers.
Let's unpack that a little bit. So what Verizon and T-Mobile need in 2020 is mid-band spectrum. They need it, and they actually need a lot of it because they don't have hardly anything outside of what they're using for LTE. They don't have enough. So if
some locations they don't have enough for LTE.
Right. So if the FCC frees up a bunch of C-band, which is currently in use for satellite and TV, let's say they free up 200 megahertz of it, Pete. Verizon walks away with 100 of it. T-Mobile walks away with 100 of it. I think that gets them going for like what, 2 years, maybe 3 years?
The way I look at it is mid-band is amazing and it should really be the 5G focus. But if you're only getting 100 megahertz of it, it's like getting a flat tire and then welding some rubber to it. It's gonna let you run, but it's not going to be long enough to sustain you for 10 years.
There's only 500 megahertz total. I don't think they're going to make all 500 available. I think it's just going to be part of it. I just don't know how much. If it's 200 megahertz, I mean, it's a good start. I think the first couple of years, we'll start to see some legitimate 5G going on, mid-band wise between Verizon and T-Mobile. But they're probably going to need at least 2 more auctions of mid-band to really get 5G going by 2025.
Yep.
And, like if you look back at the history of LTE, it took them about 4 or 5 years to be legitimate. So, go back to 2010, think about 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. By 15, LTE was pretty established. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it is by 2025, we're expecting 5G to be readily available.
Yep. I mean, it wasn't until about mid-2015, like July, that I actually used LTE for the first time.
So. The one thing I will say, though, you mentioned Sprint, and this will be before we get to Freaky Giraffe's question here. When you implicate Sprint, don't you think it's kind of ironic that the FCC is putting pressure onto Dish to deploy their spectrum, but they're not putting the same pressure on Sprint?
This is what I'd tell Sprint if the merger fails and be like, if the merger fails, you're going to have a year and a half to build out the spectrum, or at least have plans and assets to deploy it, or they're going to auction. Because you're being a Dish, you're buying spectrum, and you're limiting the market of what can be used by not using it.
Yeah, it's a situation that is kind of crippling innovation, crippling deployment. They have so much of it. I almost feel like the merger, it really it helps the overall innovative edge to the country. Because Sprint's not going to do anything with it. Even if the merger fails, I still hope somebody buys Sprint, like somebody with capital and money, preferably not Verizon or AT&T.
Well, I throw a table at the FCC, the DOJ, and those, 15 states in DC, say, hey, these two companies can't merge, they'd form a monopoly, and do nothing if AT&T or Verizon tried to buy Sprint, because that'd throw T-Mobile under the bus.
Well, then they wouldn't have a chance at anything.
Yeah, you'd go from a 4-carrier market to a 2-carrier market.
We got Freaky Giraffes in the house says, what happens to Sprint if the merger fails? Won't they go bankrupt, forced to sell the spectrum to Verizon, AT&T? Isn't that worse than the T-Mobile being a bigger player? So let's take.
We were getting at that.
Yeah, let's take the first part there. What happens to Sprint if the merger fails? I personally think, Pete, they're going to continue to try to find a buyer.
Yep, they're man, I forget the guy's, the head of SoftBank's name, but he's interested. I'll call him Son. So,
well, I think they go as Masa. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, Masa.
Yeah.
Masa's like, this is sinking assets. It's depreciating value every minute I hold on to it. So if Amazon or Google or Trump tries to buy it, he'll sell it.
I think saying that they'll go bankrupt, that's probably not going to happen. I mean,
no, it will be sold before bankruptcy.
Right. Yeah, so it's just unlikely that that's the scenario.
And if they get bought out, the buying company can refinance the debt and have some leeway, which is
X number of years, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's standard operating procedure.
Forced to sell the spectrum to Verizon, AT&T, the spectrum will never be sold to Verizon or AT&T. It might be auctioned, and they might be in there, but even then, I think the FCC would be wise to not allow them in the auction, but I don't know how that would go.
Yeah, and last thing Freaky says is true, that if Verizon or AT&T can get significant parts of Sprint's mid-band, it would be worse than having a bigger T-Mobile. You have the potential of T-Mobile not being able to compete and then becoming a two-carrier market.
And they're the most disruptive carrier. Why would we want to lose them?
Yeah, I would hate having, an 8-line plan for 240 go up to an 8-line plan for 680.
Big shout out to Magic Mike. He's healing. Good to hear from you and see you, my friend. Glad you are doing well. Just JOK, he's been scammed. That's terrible news. I'm sorry.
What type of scam did you get on your iPhone?
It was either an iCloud lock or a carrier lock.
So if it's a carrier lock, I can't fix it. If it's an iCloud lock, you should email me at info@techcareerhelpdesk.com. I can get rid of that.
Interesting. Maybe he can help you out. Check it out there. Paul says, word on the street is Apple going bankrupt.
That's BS. You're going in timeout.
That's no.
No, seriously. He's going in timeout.
Jeez, man. Pete's using the hammer, bro. Jessica says, can't T-Mobile buy Dish's spectrum because won't Dish be running out of time because they have been using it? They do have a cutoff date. They got to start building out a network. That's true.
I just put Paul in timeout. No talking about Apple going bankrupt. They have like 500 billion in liquid assets.
I mean, name a more well-off company, right?
Not even Nintendo during the Wii years was that well off. That thing printed cash.
Jarrett Topping, I believe it's like 167 megahertz. Something like that. Tons of it.
What's up?
Verizon also wants 3600. So what would that be? 3.6 gigahertz, even deploying equipment for it? That'll help a lot. I mean, I don't know how much spectrum they have, though. All right, Pete, we got a follow-up from Technoid from Mike. Says, if Sprint has to file for bankruptcy if they sell the spectrum, continue. Okay, so we got to cut it off right there. If Sprint sells spectrum.
They're not Sprint.
Well, so here's the problem. If they were to sell any other 2.5 gigahertz, how are they going to sell their company?
They can't. They're not.
They literally are. If they sell any 2.5, their company has just decreased in value exponentially.
No, percentagely, you get like the company's worth 26 billion due to their 2.5 gigahertz spectrum. Whatever, even if you sell 1% of that, you're lopping off that many percentage of what they're worth.
Wow. This lawsuit is unconstitutional. It's going to court.
The Constitution says, this is the Fourth Amendment, so it's not the Constitution. Any entity has the right to express grievances by form of lawsuit. So it is 100% constitutional.
It is. Actually, the states are very much so in their right to oppose this. But I just, like I said, I just don't agree with it.
My employee says airing my grievances is my favorite holiday. It's Festivus for the rest of us.
So Tim Man brings up the point that Sprint will tie up with a cable company. I mean, I think the question comes, who has the money to build out? So they're going to want to tie up with a company that has tons of cash, lots of capital. And I think, does that mean you think Charter or Comcast makes the most sense?
Comcast has more than Charter, but even then the industry's
Well, Pete, they're both MVNOs now of Verizon.
Yeah.
So,
And-
why would they just want to backpedal across 5 years to 10 years of planning?
And yeah, and they probably have a pullout terminate agreement fee. So if they say, you know what, Verizon, we're not going to be doing this,
Yeah, they're going to have a
it'll
termination.
cost them money.
Yeah.
And Verizon loves those early termination fees.
Zen Pyro's still got a 5S. Crazy, man.
You might be able to get a cheap upgrade. Don't get it off eBay.
Gary, I'm not sure about SoftBank's investments, but I know that Sprint's a big one, and it's probably their only Western investment.
Yep.
I don't think they have.
It's their only U.S. investment. They own a cell carrier in Japan, I think a radio company, a TV company.
My bad. Man, whatever. So, whatever. SoftBank is number 3 in Japan. Number 3, what, business?
Carrier.
SoftBank's number 3. So who's the other 2?
I don't know. All I know is they all use low band.
Tono and Kidiao. Hachitachi, yes.
Wow. KDDIAU. They
I don't even know.
They also own a radio company.
All right, we got an open commission meeting scheduled. Okay.
You didn't give me
an article that may be considering Chapter 11 bankruptcy. That's been floated around for how many quarters, Pete? 7, 8 quarters?
Minimum. that article's as legitimate as Apple filing bankruptcy.
Yeah, I feel like it's been floating around for a while. So there's the public notice on auction procedures. Apple is hoarding cash.
Yep.
I don't know.
I said they had liquid assets, which means they do have a war chest. So it's kind of like hoarding cash.
Oh my God, bro. He got, look at this. That is ridiculous. So that's crazy, man.
That guy better have been banned by email and gotten that $15 charge back.
Paul Grass continues to bring that up stream after stream. Oh, we got a troll?
Hey, if he brings it up again, I'm just going to ban hammer him. He can bring it up on a different account.
All right, Zen Pyro's blaming Apple for everything. What's up, Georgie? Good to have you on, man.
Cricket with 5G?
Not happening. Not happening. Not happening. AT&T will milk that 5G to their dying day.
You'll get that 5G fee on Cricket and the Cricket fee for Cricket and the calling up to complain fee and getting disconnected.
Robert brings up a good point about, pre-Ma Bell split, 1984. Maybe AT&T is getting a little big for their britches because they got the Warner Media Group. They have the home internet. They have, lots on TV. They've got mobile. They got a lot.
No, that's vertical integration. The reason why they were split was horizontal integration. So if they buy like CenturyLink, they could get split. But if they buy a couch company, they can't.
I will say this, Jarrett, about T-Mobile just buying Sprint. They're can't.
Trying.
No, well, okay, so it's a play on words. They are essentially buying Sprint, but they're naming it a merger, so that way it's more likely to be approved and get done. Obviously, the FCC and the DOJ approve, but we have some states that don't. So even in the terminology of a merger, that defines it as two companies coming together to just make a conglomerate, as opposed to an acquisition, which is absorbing competition, like what AT&T does.
Hey, Wade County, I cracked up when I read Contractfund by Sprint. They don't have the assets.
AT&T has gotten big by going around the FCC and DOJ using loopholes. Maybe T-Mobile should learn from that. I think they all do work around loopholes. I mean, that's the jobs of their lawyers and their attorneys to find them those loopholes.
If the attorneys weren't doing that, they wouldn't be hired.
The problem, Tim Man, with this situation is Dish is kind of landlocked for about 3 years. They can't sell any spectrum. They can't bring on any investors. And they really need them, actually, because they don't have the capital to build out the network quickly enough. But I think this is why the FCC gave them 7 years. So after that 3-year window of them doing their own, then they can start bringing investments and third-party, companies and stuff like that.
Hey, he does. Tim Man does bring something interesting up. If the merger doesn't happen come next March, I believe Dish has to sell off its mid-band.
Or the build out of the network has to go.
Where are they going to build it to?
Well, they'd have to start immediately as soon as the merger is either accepted or, whatever, redirected or whatever happens. But see, that's the thing. If the merger drags on, then the FCC has to say, here's your new extension. Here's another.
That'd be horrible.
That would be the worst case scenario. We want the spectrum out there. Yes. Google buys Sprint, drastically increases Google. Bro, Google is being investigated right now.
Also, why would they buy Sprint? They already roam on their network half the time.
Yeah, they got the MVNO deal. T-Mobile may have to push Android 10 updates by a few months for Samsung devices. I mean,
we already have Android 10.
Yeah, Pete. Well, Hey, let's get this out of here. Adam Burchett.
Wait, did somebody talk about? Where is that guy?
Let's get Adam Burchett out of here.
I'm looking. Rafi, did you find him yet? Hey, Zoli. Get 99 miles a gallon in my Prius the other day.
What's going on? Code 92818. Good to have you on. Randy says, how much do you think it costs to manufacture one flagship smartphone? We kind of have an idea. Most flagship devices cost, just like in the bill of materials, what, Pete, $300, $400?
It's sub 4. Most of it's the processor from Qualcomm.
Processor, display. I mean, you're up about $200 there. Processor, display, GPU, CPU.
The display from a reseller on a Pixel 3 XL only costs me $75.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking about an aftermarket part.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at is if you buy it in bulk from the original manufacturer, you're paying maybe $30 a screen.
I mean, when the phone initially launches, Pete, I don't know if it's going to be that cheap.
Oh, it's not, but you're amortizing. You're about $30 a screen.
All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Hey, Zoli, what's going on, buddy? We need to talk, man. I'm going to send you an email later. Marco says, do you know if iPhones for Verizon are unlocked? They are not. 60-day lock.
I can't believe the FCC let them backpedal on that.
They completely just didn't even care, man.
Nope.
Why do these states participating in a lawsuit even care? I wish federal government overruled here.
Well, contrary to the title, we are in a confederation of states. So, if you want a truly federal system, you'd have to make a new type of government.
The thing, like this situation with the lawsuit to block the merger, it's very political at this point. Anytime you see a situation where there are 17 states opposing the merger and 16 of them are Democrat, it is indeed a bipartisan issue. When it first happened, Pete, and there were 3 Democratic states opposing it, I didn't call it a bipartisan issue.
Yeah, I thought it was AT&T and Verizon passing some money.
But then it became 13, 14, 15, 16 Democratic states. And I'm like, okay, so it is a bipartisan issue. It is very political. And not much, there's not much really outside of that to say about it.
Yep, it is a political thing, and a lot of them, I believe they do have a vast majority for one carrier or another. So,
go ahead and get Adam Burchett out of here, man.
Been looking for him.
Yeah, get him out of here.
Let me do old chat.
You got it, Randy. Ryan, what's going on? Good to have you on. Just JOK says, if the FCC approved, wouldn't they have settled any antitrust legal matters? State lawsuit is irritating. That's how I see it. I think, Pete, you're kind of on the same side as well. I actually personally wouldn't mind if Letitia James and the Attorney General Block were fighting to get Dish more. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Or, union protections or,
a better MVNO deal, something. Right.
Just don't say we don't want it. It's bad for competition.
Because that's not justified and it's not proven.
Yeah, the only way you can prove it is if you create a parallel universe where you get the merger and a parallel where you don't, and then you compare the two. You can't prove if it's good or bad for competition until it happens.
What's up, John? Good to have you on. Jamaal, good to see you, my friend. Zoli in the house. Thank you for being here. Omar is here as well. All right. Marco says, should I buy an iPhone 11 this year or wait till next year when we get the 5G iPhone?
You're waiting until 2021 for a 5G iPhone. And Marco, where are you living? You probably won't be having 5G for 2021.
So that's probably true. Pete's probably right about that. But I do believe that the next generation iPhone will have it.
Maybe at a $400 premium.
So slap on $400 to $1,100.
You could get a more capable desktop for that, even in a Mac Mini.
You know what, Freaky Drafts? I don't know where this news is coming. I really do not know. I don't know what story broke. I don't know who said it. I have no clue.
The first time I read it was rumor people saying on Apple Insider, people saying Apple will go bankrupt. They said it was bunk.
What more could they give Dish? Not more spectrum. I think it's more about setting them up to be like right away become a viable player. So that means giving them maybe a better MVNO deal.
Hey, they could automatically give them half of Sprint's current customer base. It's not like they'd notice any difference with the cell phone frequencies.
Well, they're getting all Sprint prepaid. They're getting Boost. They're getting Republic Wireless, like all that stuff. They're getting infrastructure.
Republic's also T-Mobile.
Do they roam?
Yep, they're on both.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I looked into it. The wife's sister said that was a good deal, but technically the wife's phone is negative $3.66.
Jeremy with the super chat, he just sent over a PayPal donation. Jeremy, thank you for sending over that donation. Appreciate it very much. Jeremy's always very generous, man. Thank you again.
Did he comment anything on there?
Whoa. No, man, he's just awesome, bro. He's just a really nice, generous person. He doesn't need anything. Yeah, he's just a really nice guy, bro.
We got Carlos S. Highlight him. He gave us a $9.99 super chat. Would be nice to see Google Sprint, since they use Sprint Network for Google Fi already, as is, or Apple Sprint. What do you think, since this merger might fail due to left and right side BS?
First of all, I want to say thank you, Carlos, for the very generous donation. Thank you, man. In terms of the comment itself, would be nice to see Google Sprint, since they use Sprint Network. Well, So it would completely change any type of MVNO thing. I mean, they would become the owner. I wouldn't mind Google being involved more, but I would like to see them limited in their ownership stake. I would not want to see them become a majority owner. I would want to see them a minority owner providing capital, as an investment, but I do not want to see them own 51% or more of the company.
Yeah,
Because then how is anybody going to compete? Nobody's got Google money.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to. I love Android, but I wouldn't want to be on the Sprint network to use Android.
Right. I mean, that could happen. What if they decided they wanted to exploit it?
Apple, I don't think they want to invest in a cell company.
Marco's got a comment here. Should I buy a Boost mobile phone, or is it not even worth it anymore? Like if they get sold to someone else, you think they will unlock the phones? Or are there any services that unlock phones and price? I would never go out of my way to buy a locked device, a device that's locked to a network. I would definitely look for the unlocked variant or, something that's already been unlocked.
The best way of looking at a locked phone is going to a carrier and going, yeah, I don't see myself changing in 2 years. But having unlocked, you don't get the bloatware. You have more flexibility. You can install custom ROMs. And you on the phone, you can resell it whenever you like. You don't have to go through a hullabaloo.
I think Tim Man's right about this, Pete. I don't think T-Mobile would be okay giving up Sprint postpaid customers to Dish.
No, they wouldn't.
Yeah, I think that would be a problem because, I mean, damn, like T-Mobile's worked really hard to get their market share up. They're not giving that up. They wouldn't give up Metro on any level, let alone their own postpaid subscribers. No way.
Let's thank Zoli for the $5 super chat saying, can you look into Wi-Fi charging on phones? I actually read some published literature for research in this. It is Wi-Fi charging on phones is completely feasible. The only issue is you need the antenna to connect to the battery.
So the situation there, and Zoli, thank you for the super chat. Thanks for the donation, buddy. Much appreciated. The way that this technology is going to work, the whole Wi-Fi charging phones, if anything, I would say nothing mainstream until probably 2030. That needs a lot of testing. It needs a lot of clearance from the FCC. It needs reliable execution. And it needs grand scale deployment. Like
it also needs negative 1% chance of electrocution.
Yeah, because I mean that's just going to be floating around people like everywhere. The one thing that seems to have promise as well is the light. Like from lighting. They're talking about Wi-Fi through lighting, charging through lighting, that sort of thing.
That's been around since I watched things on that in 2012.
But what I'm saying is, when do we get to see it mainstream, and when do people start utilizing it in smart homes and smart businesses and stuff like that?
It worked great in smart homes and smart businesses. The biggest issue that I've seen with it is it's like that millimeter wave 5G Verizon's toting. You literally need complete line of sight to get Light-Fi to work.
What's up, Jamie? Good to have you on, buddy. It's been a while. Hope all is well over at the college, man. Hopefully classes are going good for you. It's good to see you on. Been a while. Marco's in Lincoln, Nebraska. So, yeah, I'd say 5G is a bit of a ways away.
He'd probably get it with the nationwide rollout in about 2025.
Agreed.
Ricky, Florida Keys, we're reading your comments. I don't know if the screen's broken.
No. I'm seeing them just fine. I have friends that want the Rogue 2 phone. Pete, this Asus Rogue 2 getting a lot of buzz, man.
Isn't that like a gaming phone?
Yeah, it's supposed to be super powerful, like really special display, like that really high refresh rate kind of deal. I don't know, man. I don't know what the price point is. Something tells me it's a little expensive, but
is it
going paying over $1,000, man?
It's gonna be more than a Switch. You got like 400 good games on that.
Willie, thank you for the donation, man. Much appreciated. No comment or anything, but he just wanted to donate. So, Willie, thank you, man.
Yasmin says thank you.
Yeah, all super chats do go to Yasmin, straight to savings for her for college, man.
We don't live in Dallas.
Is Dallas what is that, Sprint or T-Mobile? Dallas.
Could be AT&T. Isn't that their headquarters?
I think they're all in there then. Just I guess Verizon doesn't have it there because I'm pretty sure T-Mobile and Sprint both have it there too.
Well, he does say Sprint 5G. I was in Dallas. We don't use Sprint.
I can't do it. I can't do it, bro.
Sneed over here has Verizon and T-Mobile, and I'm T-Mobile.
Sprint has been deploying massive MIMO in Nebraska, so you never know. Huh. Yeah, but that's also not a guarantee. Well, all right. I guess we'll leave it up there. I mean, it's possible, I guess. All right. There's a super chat from Ricky Florida Keys. Ricky, thank you for the donation, and thank you for contributing.
Type your comment out. I'll read it.
Let me super chat, but not with a comment. That's ridiculous. Sorry about that.
We got Cameron streaming this over 4G.
You chose to read that incorrectly on purpose.
No, it's 4G with 4x4 carrier aggregation.
Martin, thank you, man. Pete, you're crazy, man.
No,
all right. It looks like Ricky Florida Keys is going to be donating his entire whatever loose change he has in his pockets.
Hold up, I want to say one thing about that 5GE. If I get a pen that works.
Oh, you're not going to do that. Don't do it, bro. Oh my God. Too much, man.
Nope, that red pen doesn't work.
Maybe Master Lauer just got back from shooting 9-ball pool. We lost.
You win any hustle?
Hey, Marco, I actually have a visible review on my channel. Check it out. It's a good review. I cover everything about the service. I like the service. It's good. It's Verizon LTE, so it's solid in my experience. But the one thing I will say is if you travel, you can only get LTE. You will not get any type of secondary or ancillary network technology connection. So be careful with that.
Look, I'm on 7G.
Oh, God, Pete. Here we go. So cheap. Now let me do a 5. Well, I can do the math. You sent over a 2 and a 3, so that's good. Thanks, man.
Was that your comment, though, Florida?
Send over the comment, man. Carlos says, I have all networks. It wasn't bad. Sprint been improving compared to the last few years. I do use Verizon as my main line, but T-Mobile's good. But a lot of rural areas when I'm driving drops to AT&T roaming, which I believe is what, P? Is it 4G or 3G?
You get 2 gigs of 4G on AT&T roaming, and then you're thrown down to HSPA, not plus.
That's not bad, though.
No, that's enough to make phone calls and receive text messages.
And email and light browsing, and you're just not really going to be doing much for
videos or YouTube or photos on image search. And
you could probably stream your music pretty flawlessly.
Low bit rate, not my lossless.
Well, 128. What is it?
You get 128K. You can get stereo. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Carlos, you get 4G for 2 gigs.
Marco says best prepaid service in my opinion.
Use our Visible referral code.
Yeah, I'm going with Visible. I don't know. Maybe Rafi can throw up the referral codes. Pete's got one. I've got one. Any of those will save you $20. I mean, for the price, for the network, for the unlimited data, the unlimited hotspot data. If you are in a good Verizon area, it will be the best prepaid service your money can spend.
By the way, that referral code he put up is from me, but it's going to a client of mine. She's a retiree.
So there you go. Use that referral code and save yourself $20.
And save her $20.
Yeah, that'd be great. See, Pete, this is what I'm talking about right here. Like, I used to do this too. I had a 3G only BlackBerry, and I used to get Pandora just fine. I don't know if it was a high bit rate or not, but it was good.
I had a Galaxy S2 that did Pandora stereo, no problem.
I remember the S2. I remember the S3. So I told you I gave my dad the OnePlus 6T.
Yep.
And he already lost like 2 pieces of the case that I gave him. So I had to order him like 2 more cases, and he wanted like the belt clip one. And I got him that dash charger too, man.
Nice.
It does. It was an expensive charger, man, but it does charge the phone 100% in like an hour and 12 minutes or something.
I get roughly that on my Pixel 3 using USB 3.
What is
I don't pay attention, but
yeah, I was gonna say I'm trying to think. My Pixel 3 through power delivery, I have the 3AXL. Mine's I think 3,700 milliamp hour battery. What's yours?
No idea.
Might be probably the same or something. You have the XL, don't you?
Yep.
Okay, so it's probably the same. Yeah, mine takes about an hour and 20 minutes.
Freaky Giraffe says best overall service or daily driver. If you have 3G connectivity on a Verizon line and your phone's compatible with 3G, could probably call over most of the country on that.
I don't know, Pete. I'm starting to kind of swing towards AT&T. The problem is just the billing is just a nightmare.
Let's go over to my customer service conversation. For the chat.
Okay.
So, how many customer services have hung up on you in the past 2 months?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Well, Saturday a lot.
So every time I call AT&T or Verizon on one of their customers' phones, or quoting sitting in the office with the wife, having her quote a government line, doesn't matter. Get transferred, they hang up.
I got hung up on like 3 times on Saturday from Verizon.
Dude, T-Mobile, I've been on calls for an hour, 20 minutes. They're like, sorry for taking so long, but we want to solve this for you. Never about billing.
This is kind of interesting, Pete. People are reporting AT&T's HSP Plus no longer working. I haven't heard of any type of decommission, so that would be a surprise to me.
Yeah, it's called 5GE.
I don't know. I know they're decommissioning 3G in like 2023 or 4.
They're rolling out the decommissioning, and they're changing HSPA Plus to 5GE. So
why don't you just say LTE, bro?
No, because that's 3.5G.
Ricky Florida Keys says, I dumped AT&T because they did that cannot reason with them. All right, so bad customer care, definitely.
So I travel periodically, and Metro hung up on you. Wow.
Yeah. Well, Pete, Metro is not T-Mobile. Let me just say that.
T-Mobile.
I know it's Metro by T-Mobile, but it's really not.
They need to take those Sprint store employees, train them as a team of experts, and put them on the Metro.
That'll change the game, bro. They would change prepaid service.
They'd be the only game in town. Dish would have to mimic them.
Robert, I think that's right for Verizon.
It depends on the market. Here in Longmont, Colorado, the only 3G network's AT&T.
I haven't seen 3G in Cleveland for Verizon in years. Maybe 2 years, 3 years. Marco, I will direct you to Altered Tech. My dude, Altered Tech's channel, he just did a total wireless review. It's really good. Check it out. Jeez, 1 gig of RAM. Yeah. I'm leaving Verizon for Visible. I appreciate a $50 savings. That's what it's designed to do. Trying to get 6G for what is he selling the car?
I don't know. He might be doing the drive sync, and T-Mobile's giving him the 6G.
So, Brian, I think, and Brian, it's good to see you on. It's been a while, my friend. We're not saying that Metro is not T-Mobile. In that way, we're saying, like, figuratively, the customer care on Metro is not like T-Mobile, is I think what we should have said.
Yep.
It's just they don't treat you as well as the postpaid side on T-Mobile does.
I get the business postpaid support on T-Mobile. They overnight me everything I ask for.
iPhone's having issues with HSPA Plus. That's news to me. It must be an iOS thing.
It might be, in their opinion, legacy technology. They probably get rid of that like they did the headphone jack, the HDMI cable, the USB-A port.
What's going on, Heath? Good to see you here, man. How's that experience, Just JOK? Be curious to see how it is. And what market are you in?
See it 144p, like AT&T in some markets.
It's horrible, man. Could you see the judge leaning towards his or her party lines if this merger is political? I hope not. They're not supposed to, man.
What circuit would they be appealing in?
I don't know where the appeal would go, but I know it's starting in Manhattan.
That's District 2.
It's not a Supreme Court situation. I mean, it's not.
But, yeah, if it's political in District 2, we'd side with the Dems.
T-Mobile would give up Metro to get this merger through? No. Metro's 20 million customers.
And
it's their customers.
3G CDMA was it?
Don't forget to let the T-Mobile test drive people know to connect with the 5 gigahertz channel. Expect half the actual speeds. So if you get 35 megs on a hotspot phone, you'll get double that at. So, well, I mean, it's a category. It's a category 4 LTE device, man.
It's not going to be double, but yeah, if you're getting 35 megs a second, you can expect around 60 or 70, which is more than enough for most applications.
Just remember kind of the expectations is that you're trying to get a feel for the coverage that T-Mobile now has compared to probably the last time you either tried it or saw it, you know?
Hey, man, if I could get a consistent 35 down, I wouldn't complain.
Tom, why do you say Metro has too many customers? What does that mean?
Tom complains because he doesn't get service in his basement. Well, if it's a good service, you'll get more customers. So if you're doing customer retention as mark of service, they're solid for 20 million lines.
More people use Metro than Obamacare.
I don't know.
You think it's close?
I don't know. With Obamacare, are you including people on company insurance that can now go on if they're diabetic or asthmatic?
This is interesting from Alan Dubb. I'm not sure about the whole eSIM thing with AT&T. I'm not familiar with it. They're really the only carrier that I try to actively stay away from. As good as their network appears to be,
Wait, how do you get a new eSIM for an iPhone? Don't you have to buy an iPhone with eSIM?
I think the new iPhones are eSIM compatible. I think the issue he's talking about is he's just talking about how do I go about signing up with service and utilizing the eSIM.
It should be on their web portal if it's an eSIM. Otherwise, they're gonna charge you $30 and give you a SIM card.
Yeah, pretty much. And they're gonna charge you some other freaking fee that
they're also charge you the first 3 months of line access on that. So,
what is it really that bad? DJ Gaiden Tech is saying that Xander gets 0.05 on Metro. Meanwhile, T-Mobile's getting 100. Would that mean like same
Is
time,
this the
same
same
place?
phone?
That's some crazy throttling right there, Pete. if that's true.
Sneed over here has been trying out T-Mobile on his Nexus 5X, and he's unimpressed.
Well, I'm gonna have to get it into my Google phone. I'm not gonna.
Let's talk about your 5X experience, though.
So I don't know wherever that phone is. I don't know where it is. So I've got a new T-Mobile SIM. I'm trying out the service. So for those of you here, you'll be the first to know. I'm doing the T-Mobile LT only challenge. I'll be doing that. I'm gonna start it like tomorrow.
And he's gonna tape that 7G up top.
I'll be testing it, but I'll be doing it through my Google phone. So I'm gonna switch the SIMs. I'm gonna do that tonight. But
Told him he shouldn't have given that OnePlus to his dad. He should have used that.
I really, really regret it now, man.
2 dead batteries and phones.
My dad gave me his OnePlus 7, his iPhone 7, and his Nexus 5X LG, and both of them don't pull 6 hours of battery life.
Dude, if I replace the battery in my OG Pixel and send it to you, it would be a better phone than that 7.
Well, that's what I got to do, man. I got to replace the batteries on the 2 of them, and then I think they'll be much better. But it's just, I don't know if I want to go through all that, man.
I'm not
Gregory? Good to have you on.
an insider.
What's up, Gregory? Good to have you on. I have to concede. I got AT&T and Sprint. Got the 2 prepaid SIM in here in Houston. They are damn near equal to AT&T. Way better than in 2017. Well, it's good to see the networks are improving. I'm not familiar with the Houston market. I know that it's a big market.
Also, if you're legitimately a Marine or former Marine, you'll get way better pricing on Sprint, so go with them.
Almost 2 years ago, T-Mobile began the process of deploying its newly acquired 600 megahertz. Company spent nearly $8 billion in an effort to increase its coverage. Well, they probably needed to spend more, honestly.
I must say one thing about their Band 71 rollout, though. That is epic. The amount of coverage across the country I've gotten on 71, where I could talk, text, and send emails, and pull up maps and watch some YouTube.
Pete, speaking of Band 71, do you think it's at 50% or so, like Ricky Florida Keys is saying?
I think it's at less than 50.
Yeah, I thought it was less as well. I thought it was closer to like 40%.
Some places are probably only like 20% deployed, especially in the barren areas in the U.S.
My buddy did the eSIM through T-Mobile, said it works well.
But Cameron, you're assuming that AT&T does the eSIMs.
Yeah, I'll definitely be testing it. Had an eSIM on my Tennis Max, got in store for $5. They didn't let me keep the QR code, or those eSIM QR codes only good once. I'm not familiar with the process, man.
They're only good once.
So if you were to like go on vacation, travel abroad, international, come back, you'd need a new QR code and pay for a new eSIM?
Yeah, because you're basically flashing the chip, but if you're going international, you shouldn't be buying an eSIM. You should be getting a prepaid SIM for data. And if you're on like T-Mobile or Sprint or Altice, roam on your eSIM to get the calling and texting and use the national SIM for data.
That'd be the best way to do it. Oh, geez.
And Carta 2003, well, I have Encyclopedia Britannica through Amazon.
Dude, I remember Encarta back in the day.
I do too. I also have my Britannica collection.
Pete, read that, please.
Thomas, are you using CenturyLink or a dial-up provider?
Poor Thomas, man. He's always 144p. I've never seen him even at 480, man. It sucks.
He's probably on DSL.
I think he's on LTE, maybe. Your Brian R is in the house. No charge for eSIM.
What carrier, Brian?
I bet you it's T-Mobile.
It's probably T-Mobile.
All right. ProX Nation says Altice Mobile is trash.
He hasn't tried it yet.
That's what I'm saying. Unless you've tried it, I don't know if you want to go ahead and say that. I don't think that's fair.
T-Mobile for Brian Orr.
What's up, Nintendo 504? Glad you're in the house tonight.
I get a $10 bill credit for each physical SIM I bought at T-Mobile, by the way.
Yes, I got a TD Julio Jones. Yes. I got fantasy football, Pete. So I'm like watching the game, trying to podcast, that sort of.
How many points are you up against your league?
I have no idea, bro. I don't know. I haven't looked all day. I just know that I picked him in one of my leagues. It's called the one-man league. You pick one player a week, and you can't use him more than once in a season. So essentially you make 17 picks because 17 weeks, and he's my pick for this week. I took Julio.
So I do have a question for Prox Nation, who's tried Altice Wireless. Are you locking onto one carrier, or is AT&T and Sprint garbage in your area?
See, that's the thing. Like, you have Altice's native network, which is a collection of hotspots and microcells, and then you have roaming agreements with AT&T and Sprint, depending on the region. So, and just so you guys know, Altice has contracts in place that gives their customers postpaid AT&T priority and postpaid Sprint priority. I find that very hard to believe.
What phone are you using, Prox Nation?
See, and I'm not calling, ProX Nation a liar. I'm just saying, are you sure of what you're saying?
Because if on Android you go into network, mobile network, advanced, there's this option to automatically select network. If you have roaming agreements, you should be jumping between those.
Nintendo 504, you'll be getting the discount code next month then if they didn't give it to you the first month.
You notice it on your after activation, you notice it on your PayPal.
All right, we'll have to check out your Twitter, ProX Nation. It's an interesting thing to take a look at. Maybe those MVNO deals aren't active yet and they're kind of pending or something.
Yeah.
Who knows? Can you give me ideas for best internet for rural areas? There is no DSL or fiber where I live. You're kind of out of luck, man.
Do you have T-Mobile or AT&T service in the area?
Oh, he could do what's it called?
Those
NetBuddy.
4G pucks.
Yeah, and NetBuddy, $60 a month.
Yep.
All right, just so you guys know, me and Pete planned on being on here for about an hour. So if you guys would like to get any last few comments or questions or topics you want to discuss quickly, Pete, you got another 5-10 minutes?
Yep.
Okay.
Just got an email from a supervisor, though, but I can fix that tomorrow morning.
Yeah, Tom, NetBuddy's a good option. It runs on the AT&T network. It gets you unlimited LTE hotspot. Most people see between 30 to 60 megabits per second. So I don't want to tell you it's going to be perfect for home use, but if you only were connecting 2 or 3 devices, it's probably enough.
Hold up. We got 70 watching and only 47 likes.
Oh, guys, you got to get
we can get up to 80 likes. We might do a giveaway.
Uh-oh, we're thinking about doing a giveaway? Well, we're going to have to get the likes up.
Yep. I actually recommended NetBuddy to my mother-in-law living in rural Pennsylvania at the moment. Told her she can use a T-Mobile number and whatnot and just get data in her house and effort. Court date, isn't that December 9th at like 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time?
You going to be there, Pete? Man, you should show up.
I might have a conference in Puerto Rico at that time.
Sheesh. Altice has great international roaming. I've heard that before.
Yes, they have amazing international roaming. I'm actually kind of jealous. What does T-Mobile have?
Might have to be more specific there. Really hope New York City got good 600 megahertz on T-Mobile. Going to find out Friday when the new iPhone drops. Don't even get signal at work. Yeah, that's what Band 71 is for.
I got signal in NYC on my OG Pixel without Band 71, no problem.
Does it have 66?
Nope.
Oh, wow.
And I was running all around the Columbia Medical Center.
Yeah, guys, do what they say. Want to support the channel? Want to support production here on the SMT? Consider small occasional donation. There's the PayPal link for Sneed Mobile Tech. You can also do a super chat if you'd like. It's up to you. All donations are greatly appreciated by the SMT and company.
So, Tom was wondering what the T-Mobile parody for NetBuddy is.
I don't know if they have one, do they?
Well, what I'm getting at is I have friends that live in rural areas, and I get full T-Mobile LTE on 71 there, getting a good 25 megs down, and they're paying 120 a month for HughesNet.
It's the worst, man.
Yeah.
Pete, have you seen Sprint achieve 350 megabits per second?
No, most Sprint I see is on LTE extended here.
Yeah, but it wouldn't get that fast.
No, that seems more like you have gigabit internet in the home.
I don't want to call Shannon P a liar by any means. And I know Band 41 is their 2.5 gigahertz. Maybe with 3 carrier aggregation. Maybe. I don't know.
That'd be nice.
But that is really, really, really fast. I think the fastest LTE I've ever seen with Verizon was about 220 or 240 megabits per second.
Fastest I've gotten on T-Mobile was 110.
I've seen T-Mobile over 200 in Cleveland.
I haven't been trying. I'm just happy I'm connected.
Yeah, I was gonna say my brother has he has the Moto Z. Is it Z4 or Z3? And it's the T-Mobile model, so it's specifically tailored for those bands. Is this true, Pete, right here?
No idea. I don't work in Denver.
So you don't even spend time there. Okay.
Although I do have a colleague who works on Buckley Air Force Base, and he gets good service in his home and comes up here. He's better on my hotspot.
That's pretty fast for boost, Dan Pete. I mean, that's an MVNO Sprint, so that's pretty good. Shannon P saying they're cranking up the backhaul now. I feel like Sprint's always got to be addressing that issue in so many of their markets. Metro speeds is 75 on a busy day, 100 to 200 rest of the time. That's pretty dang good. I saw 3 megabits per second one time with the Sitco home internet. I'm not sure. Is that a...
What is Sitco?
So Tin Man is saying that the Sprint situation, to get those speeds, you get 3 carrier band 41, so that's 2.5 gigahertz. You get 256 QAM, and it can get that high. So makes sense. That's really fast, though. Really, really fast. I mean, I've never seen LTE that fast. But I mean, I've heard people say that. I haven't seen it personally. I've had 212 on Sprint Band 41 in Vegas. Most had on T-Mobile 160, Verizon 191, 18. Those are all, wow. Vegas is getting speeds, man. Holy crap.
Well, Vegas is in the middle of nowhere, so you don't get you get an area with a lot of congestion, so you can position your stuff accordingly. And beyond that congestion zone, you get nothing. Well, nothing as a sign of civilization. because Vegas is in an unincorporated area, so you got this big boom area and flatland, so probably don't get service when you step away.
So Ronald, there's a couple of guys in our Discord server that actually update us and give us screenshots of like T-Mobile LAA, and like it's in the Southwest US, and they're seeing incredible speeds like that too.
Is that Speed Test Boys?
Yeah, they get like 350 megabits per second and stuff like that on LAA. Do they sell the Galaxy A10e? That's kind of an entry-level device.
I didn't see it in the last T-Mobile story one too, but they did have a Pixel 3 XL.
Got a OnePlus 6T. John, I like that phone. I gave it to my dad, man. I had one. Using the S10 5G in Cleveland, got 800 megabits per second. So Brian was connected.
Dude, you got to get that phone.
I got to get one, man. Sneed is Verizon's LTE mostly on 700 megahertz. So most of the time what I'm seeing from Verizon, it's mostly band 4. And then it'll aggregate carriers like band 4 and band 13. That's usually what I'm seeing from Verizon. Or it'll say like band 66, but it's really band 4.
Yep.
But like I'll see that. It'll say aggregating band 66, band 4, band 13. It'll do 3 carriers that way. It's really weird. I don't know why, but that's how Verizon has it programmed whenever it connects to like the cell info apps and stuff like that. It'll say like 2 carriers aggregating. It'll say band 40, band 4 and band 13, or band 66 and band 4. It's weird. I don't know why they do that. I hit 700 megabits per second personally, but they do have gigabit downtown. Wow. Levendi's in the house says, how do you think Verizon can bring it next level and dust their competition, really pull ahead? They need mid-band. They won't do it without it.
Everybody needs mid-band.
The only company that doesn't need it right now, like this second, is AT&T and Sprint.
No. Sprint doesn't count. They only have pockets of it.
No, they just don't have money.
Yeah, they don't have money. That's why
they have no pockets. They're walking around they're wearing shorts, man. They don't have pockets.
No, they're in kilts without that pouch in the front.
It's an embarrassment of riches, man. They have so much and they do nothing with it. You know what, Pete? You think this is a good point to cap it off? It's up to you. I'll let you make the call. If you want to stay on any longer, go ahead. We could do it.
Let's see. Did want to say the experience with the T-Mobile rep you had. That wasn't exceptional. That was expectations.
It was fine. She was trying to help me with kind of a situation that was unforeseen. It really shouldn't have happened. You know, like the whole mail thing was a problem. She was really nice. I've seen her before. I've been into that store. I've talked with her before, and she's always been really nice and friendly. She was good.
Dude, the 3 stores I go to in my city for T-Mobile, all the employees are like that. It's like they like their job.
I can tell you right now that she loves her job. I'm not sure if she necessarily was in a great mood that day, but she was very helpful. She did help me a lot. And actually, she's one of the more knowledgeable people that I know at that store. You know how it is, Pete. Some of these customer relations employees they're not that good. They're just not that knowledgeable. She was actually pretty good.
Hey, I was impressed she could get you a SIM on my account without my authorization.
So here's what she did. What she did was she looked at the number. She was able to change the SIM card by the telephone number.
Yep.
Because I had a picture of the telephone number. You remember?
Yep, I sent that to you.
And then we were on the phone, and she was like, all right, well, I think I could do this. So she scanned the new SIM card, and it programmed, and everything was cool.
Yeah, that's impressive because They have some more protections on that, but I guess if you're chatting with a guy and it's a guy on the phone saying, "Hey," but
I will say, Tim, man, what I've seen from Verizon, I've had Verizon forever. I only get band 2 on the turnpike. Or when I'm getting off the turnpike. Say, for example, like I'm going to Pittsburgh and I kind of get off the beaten path a little bit. Most of the time, I'm connected to band 4 and band 13. But as soon as I start to pull away into like some really rural areas, it moves on and shifts over to band 2, and it's slow. I'm talking like 3 megabits per second, 5 megabits per second, 8 megabits per second. What is this? What is this? Pete, what?
that's like Greek to me because I read N and I'm like, okay, I'm back writing algorithms and summations.
He's identifying all the aggregation I think that could take place. So there's like 2 carrier, there's 2 carrier again, and it looks like T-Mobile, I think.
That is T-Mobile.
Okay. And I think that's the 5G. That looks like all low band. If I'm not
mistaken. N is 5G. That's impressive.
All right, so they're doing a lot of low band 5G. I do see 66 there, and that's not necessarily low band. What band 66 would be?
Isn't that around 800, 850?
No, higher. That's much higher. It's
all I know is my voice doesn't sound as good on 66 as it does 71.
That makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense because band 66 is what 1,200, 1.2 gigahertz, 1,200 megahertz.
Gigahertz.
Okay.
But yeah, my voice sounds so good on 71.
DJ Gaiden Tech, I could tell you up until about 2 years ago, I don't live in a rural area, and I saw band 13 everywhere. Just up until the last couple of years, I started seeing a lot of band 4 and band 66. I can imagine band 25 is probably awful without carrier aggregation. You probably couldn't pull 10 megabits per second without 2 carriers.
I feel sorry for Travis Zenach.
What's the deal with Travis? He's up in the house.
We're wrapping up. Catch us from the replay.
Yeah, we're going to be wrapping up here in about a minute. So, yeah, band 4 and 2. Usually today was band 2, 4. All right. Yeah, and you know what, Tim, man? The AWS spectrum has always been doing the heavy lifting and doing all the speed, getting the throughput. All right, Pete, let's do it. Let's give our thank yous, man.
Like to thank everyone who hopped on and the 61 likes. Didn't hit that 70.
Let's give a shout out to all the moderators. Rafi was in the house today. Pete also moderated a little bit, even though he was in the podcast.
Yeah.
Jeremy was here for a while. I'd like to give a special shout out to those that made PayPal donations. Jeremy Clifton. Also, a big shout out to anybody that provided a super chat. Thank you, guys.
I do remember Florida doing super chats.
Yeah, thank you for that, guys.
Carlos.
Frankie's like, yeah, what are we talking about tonight? Frankie, you're gonna have to watch it on the replay. We're wrapping up. So, but yeah, I want to thank the subscribers. I want to thank the supporters, those that like this video, those that like all the videos, those that watch everything that I make, those that comment. I want to thank the replay crew for those that watch this after, it records. Thank you again, Carlos, for the super chat, man. Thank you. Much appreciated, Carlos.
I must say, I do enjoy the people who work in carrier stores for keeping us honest, and Zoli for keeping me honest about the Prius.
And Zoli, I'll be emailing you within the next day or so. We got an issue that we need to discuss.
You dipping on a Prius, Need?
And I don't know, man. You know what? I'm not opposed to a Prius, man. I mean, what am I spending on? What am I spending on one?
I spent 20 grand on mine.
I don't know, man. If I showed you my Accord, man, it's really, really nice, and it was 20 stacks. So
Accord, what year?
2015.
Don't replace that.
It's really nice, man. It's loaded. It's got options. It's got 6 cylinders. I mean, it gets like 30 miles to the gallon overall. It's not what your Prius does,
But it's a Prius.
All right. So I think we'll leave it at that. All the thank yous have been taken care of. If you guys could, if you haven't done so already, like this video. If this is your first time watching a live stream, we do this every Friday and then sometimes on Sundays and then even sometimes on Wednesdays. But we always do them. So sometimes on different days, but always Fridays for sure. So stay on your toes. You never know when me and Pete might go live, or I might go live, or
Jessica Fuller's comment here.
Pete, have I ever not had you on a podcast? Haven't I always had an open invite for you?
My biggest issue with podcasts is I gotta schedule time for it. Some Friday nights and Sunday nights and midweek I'm working, and if I'm available, I'm on.
Yeah, thank you, Ricky Florida Keys. Thank you for being here. Thanks everybody for watching. We try to get Pete on here as much as possible. He's a friend of the show. He's a contributor to the channel. He's a friend of mine on a personal level, and I try to get him on as much as I can. And again, Pete, thanks for being on, man. Much appreciated.
Currently, I'm the head of his T-Mobile plan.
And he is also my T-Mobile liaison. So I think we'll leave it at that.
If you need some interesting, Sneed, if you need some interesting orders from T-Mobile, let me know. They'll get sent to you in a UPS box.
Sweet, man. We're going to try them from now on. T-Mobile LT only challenge up and coming. Be on the lookout for that. Videos this week. I'm going to probably start working on the history of T-Mobile video. I think it's about due. I'm considering maybe doing the Sprint one first in case Sprint gets absorbed in this merger. I don't know. Do Sprint first. So I'll probably do Sprint first. I'm probably going to start working on that script this week. Maybe expect something. Patrons will get it first. They get early access. I think I have at least one Patreon exclusive video dropping this week. I'll have, I don't know, probably about 4 or 5 to the YouTube. So you guys be on the lookout for that. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure the notification bell is activated. And you guys won't miss anything from the SMT.
Got 2 things to go. Dan Pete's wondering how my Prius works in the cold. Keeps me warm and gets about 47 a gallon. And number 2, I'm gonna see if I can talk with my T-Mobile account liaison for the business plan. See if we could get a demo unit for a 5G phone.
I'd love to get one, man.
You know, just couple 3 weeks. See how it works.
All I need is a week, really. I mean, I need time to get it shipped to me, get the SIM card in there, take it over there, do some of the testing, a little bit of recording, some editing, and boom, I'm all set.
Dude, the SIM card, the phone, if I could get it through T-Mobile as like a demo, would only take a day.
Yeah, I can go downtown. I know exactly where to go. We've got a coverage map, damn it.
Yeah, so
we can go right to the spots we need to go.
See what I can do. I'll call the business line when I get my mobile payment reader.
Cool, because the stores ain't helping me, bro.
They're not going to help you.
Yeah, they don't have. There's only so much they could do.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Anything
else? A lot of the time when I'm in store, they have to call the helpline and get it done. And we're going to try and get 5G next podcast, but no guarantees.
No, Carlos. I've got T-Mobile 5G over here.
Anywho.
That's it.
Peace.
We're done. Bye, guys. Have a good night. See ya.